Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is episode 421. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting, everybody who's been a part of the broadcast, giving me feedback, letting me know about the progress that it has helped them to make, the lives that I am humbled to be able to have had a hand in changing the trajectory of. It's been a powerful experience thus far, and I'm really appreciative of these different mediums to be able to get this message through. Because I stand for your progress, I stand for your manifestation of everything that you ask for, everything you desire, and everything that you deserve in this world, internally and externally. So again, I stand for unconditional internal happiness. That's all I wish to activate in all of you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of it. Now, tonight, what's going on, Dawn? How you feeling? Tonight, we're talking about why commitment isn't for everyone. Although commitment is sought after by some, heavily sought after by some, and it is shunned and shamed by others, we're going to talk tonight about how there's a possibility that neither one of those two are even ready for what they're asking for. So I wanted to get into some of the prerequisites for being ready and being prepared for commitment. A lot of times we look for or ask for things that we may not be equipped to handle. For some of y'all may know the phrase, your eyes bigger than your mouth. You know what I mean? And, just being as a kid, ask, I want all this food. You want all the food. But then when it comes time to eat it, you want to get up from the table. And I was one of those kids, and I'm sure some of you are as well. So let me tap into the comments. See, Dawn's in the building. Essie Girly, what's going on? Erica's in the building. I see y'all, man. I see y'all. Appreciate it. So it's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick a side. We're gonna talk about both sides, right? Now, on the side of those who are highly desiring commitment, but not finding it. And I would argue that sometimes at the basis of that, the reason why commitment eludes you in your cycle of relationships, or you find yourself attracted to people who are not invested in commitment, are unable to be committed, who do not have a desire to be committed. I would argue that at the root of that is a lack of commitment to yourself. And what do I mean by that? If you are not committed to yourself, what does that look like? Well, it looks like running from healing. It looks like running to people and seeking external validation, external love and companionship before settling in and activating the self-love for oneself. So seeking out somebody else to fill the void just because out of your mouth is, none of these people are ready for commitment. I'm looking for a commitment. The first commitment and the most important commitment is the commitment to the self. And that entails going through the process of digging through the attic, the back rooms, shifting boxes around, digging inside of crates, making sure that there is nothing unhealed, marinating, nothing settling. Because some of those corners and recesses of our mind and hearts are reeking of old hurts that need to be addressed. However, based out of fear, we oftentimes run from that job and expect somebody else to pick up the slack and do it for you. Now, if the job was so difficult that you ran from it, years, decades, why would it be easy and likely that you would be able to connect with somebody else who's willing to do that job for you, or who's equipped enough to do that job for you? I don't know. But I will say that is a major contributor to those who highly desire commitment. Because it's all about balance, right? It's not wrong to want commitment. It's not wrong to, value committed relationships. It's not wrong to want your soulmate, right? But when it becomes such a high level of need and the stakes become so high that you're willing to do any and everything to get to it, that's a problem. That's something that needs to be examined, because then we're reaching that void filling space. We're reaching that space where, just like drugs, we willing to do any and everything to get to it. And if you don't believe me, just look at some of the actions. Look at some of the red flags that you just straight ignored, jumping right into relationship after relationship because of the compulsive need for somebody to commit to you, and you don't even fully know who you are because there's so much of you that you keep locked away. There's so much of you that you keep in denial about. You might fully be self-aware of maybe 60% of yourself, but you want 100% of somebody else. And you want that 100% of somebody else to love 100% of you, and you have not a clue as to 40% of what's operating in the background of your mind. But somebody's some Superman's supposed to pull up and be able to love all of that when you don't even have access to it, or you refuse to access it. So, a prerequisite of getting that heavily sought after commitment is to commit to the self. So this is hence why I say commitment is not for everyone. It's not for everyone, because we tripping in the door. We just cart before the horse. Sometimes we putting the prize before the work. And a lot of times when we put the prize before the work, we're gonna mess up the pack. How many statistics do you need to read about lottery winners who F up the money in 6 months? There's no work, there's no structure, there's no process. You want to skip the process. You can't skip the process. Or you can, but you'll end up right back in that cycle. Anything led with fear puts you in a cyclical situation. That's oftentimes toxic, oftentimes repetitive, and it makes you more jaded throughout the process. Now, conversely, on the other side of the coin, what about the people who shame commitment, right? Call brothers simps for getting married or professing their love to their wife or whatever the case is, right? For shaming people for being committed, right? Like something's wrong with them, or like they caught up on a leash or something like that. Now, do some commitments have that kind of dynamic? Yeah, but it's not all of them. But when you start generalizing like that and you start talking in absolutes, that makes me think. That makes me really want to examine what's going on underneath the hood, because Again, there's no balance. You want to color everything with a broad brush. That must mean deep down inside there's a reason for that. And I think a lot of times for the people who shame commitment, they are not equipped to handle commitment based on a lack of certain factors. Now, what does commitment entail? It entails discipline, right? And this is one of the factors I always say, if you're dating and you're taking it serious and you want a healthy relationship, that's one of the things you want to make sure that that other person has. Before they meet you, you want to make sure that they have that, right? That discipline will benefit in front of you and when you're apart. But somebody who lacks that, or somebody who is pleasure seeking just based on, you know, that dopamine rush, based on the spike, who's clearly addicted to that spiking mechanism, you know, is somebody who is not willing to do the work that it takes to commit. Now, you might get, for somebody who's anti-commitment, right? You gotta be ready to take the consequences of your decisions. Now, if somebody's willing to commit, I would hope they're committing to somebody who gives to them, because I'm about depth, right? I could have sex every week with somebody different if I wanted to, right? But how fulfilling is that? Just quick elevations, you know what I'm saying? Spike, you know, feel good for a moment in time. Next day, resets. That's that same compulsive appetite over and over and over again. Now, is it safe? Heart-wise, maybe. Is it fulfilling long-term? No. Is it safe physically? No. Hell no. Hell no. So, I mean, you got to live with the decisions you make. You know what I'm saying? So that's somebody rationalizing a lack of discipline. And if anybody tells you they're happy with that type of lifestyle, I would argue that there's a possibility that there's avoidance there, and they're not truly happy. They may be happy to this ceiling, or you know, happy at the fact that they can't get their heart broken, etc. But that's a fear-based decision. And like I say, at all costs, you're gonna, you know, the faster you try to run from fear, the faster you're running towards it. It's when fear is at taking a dominant space within your mind and fueling your actions. Even the person who just has sexual encounters can get their heart broken. At some point, your feelings are going to get involved. So it's not, you know, that whole lowballing yourself, trying to act like, you know, this is the best. Okay, that's cool, but you got to be cool with the low rewards too, because being committed to the right person yields a lot of internal rewards, a lot of mutual rewards. The right connection, it don't have to be marriage or whatever, but the right connection in a committed space yields a level of rewards that I don't even have a word to describe. So this is why this is something that is incredibly important, because there's requirements, as there should be, but there's higher rewards. As you go up, the requirements go up, what you have to do to maintain a committed relationship, the discipline, you know, the focus, the communication levels, right? You can't be single and then get into something committed and then be acting single still. So at some point, few months in, that's got to wear off. Y'all got to feel each other out, figure out how you're going to meet, where you're going to meet up together, and be able to, you know, create a new normal, create a new subculture between you, you know. But this thing we talking about as far as commitment, if you want to get the rewards of it, It's also going to take you being brave enough to put your heart on the line. And if you're still in a position where that heart is cracked, broken, don't carry that into nothing new. That means you need to sit on the bench and get yourself right and patch that thing back up and take yourself higher than your previous normal. Because if you know me, you know I know if you're gonna take a dive, if there's a heartbreak, a trauma, a failure, if you're gonna dip below your baseline, it ain't about, for me, it's not about getting back to normal. It's about going back higher, because now we dip below the baseline. We got to go above the baseline now. This is how I rock. So this is what I wanted to leave you with. If you are somebody who is desiring of commitment, that commitment has to be internal first. It has to be your commitment to self, commitment to your higher self first, before anything else. And then your every reward that comes with that committed relationship is all yours, because you will have earned it. So wanted to drop these on y'all tonight. Brief live, but definitely make sure you guys subscribe. Be sure to click the link in the description box as well. If you would like to, just do a Zoom consult with me, if you have some things you're looking to work through. If you are somebody who is looking for that committed relationship, but you want to know how to commit to yourself, you want to know what strategies to utilize to fix the hurts and to not operate from the standpoint of hurt and fear, and to knock fear off of that throne. Definitely contact me, hit the link in the description box, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.